fantastic, because once we made the film and the director was asking for stuff, and then ultimately with Genesis here we made this book, we had it all. So it wasn't hard to find it, but it was really great to be able to put it in one place and be able to share it with everybody. I also could have just invited you all to my basement to go through the boxes to find all this stuff, but you say that now, it was a dusty mess, but anyway, it's great to have it all in one place. Like
It
this.
really is, because in the Hulu special we got to see Jon maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute, going through all the boxes, the cassettes, all that stuff. But now, I mean, we have it all,
Yeah, great book.
in one place.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, they did a great job.
And are you a hoarder?
Yes. Yes, I am.
So, and it's in the book, and it certainly was in the special, and it's in your heart and in your history. Growing up in New Jersey, the point is made that before Springsteen, had Born to Run out, nobody really wanted to admit that they came from New Jersey. His hometown, his home state, the Garden State. And then, that story of just following these New Jersey musicians and watching their ascension. What was it about those musicians that you saw in the Asbury Park scene that excited you the most?
Well, the magic that, remember now in New Jersey, Frank Sinatra, of course, is the king of kings, but there'd been a long gap between Frank and then Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, and there were others that came out of New Jersey, but plugging in an electric guitar was all about Bruce and the E Street Band, and then Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. But the magic for me as a teenager during that late 70s period was that there were 7 members of the E Street Band and 10 members of the Asbury Jukes, so chances were one of those 17 guys was going to be in the bar. They all liked to drink, and they had nowhere else to go, so they would be in one of these bars, which made the impossible seem possible. It wasn't like going to a book and touching a picture of something bigger than big. Like when you would look at the pictures of Led Zeppelin or The Who and, the Stones, it was just a poster on your wall. When you went down to Asbury Park, the guys that were making records about your backyard were in your backyard. And that made it maybe just a little more, possible to think that someday you could make records like that.
Did y'all love in the Hulu special when, as a teenager, high school kid, Jon is joined on stage by Bruce Springsteen singing The Promised Land? Wasn't that amazing stuff?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah. There's pictures in the book.
Yeah, incredible.
With Southside and Bruce, and I'm just a kid. But it's, imagine going to high school the next day and the teacher's like, class turning it, and I go, like, I got a story to tell. Last night, and this is all before, many years before records like Born in the USA, so he was still Bruce, but he wasn't Born in the USA kind of Bruce. But and Southside was, just Southside. So they were making records, but we didn't really share them yet with the masses. And so it was amazing that they would be hanging out in places like that and encouraging kids.
We learned in the Hulu special, in the documentary, that you're a worker bee. Even today, you're just a worker bee. And it was great to see you back as a kid, getting your hands dirty, picking up the dry cleaning for the people who were, renting the Power Station, that famous recording studio in New York. So what did you learn about making records and the music industry during those years as a runner?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I spent more time fetching burgers and coffee than I did watching the actual recording sessions. But one of the great things I do recall, because there was a number of nights, when you would be able to hang out, was the bigger the star, the nicer the person. It was the guy that was the Mick Jaggers of the world that really, would take the time to stop and talk and say, how's those demos going? Keep your chin up. And those are the things you sort of took away from that. But I also know, make sure the beer was cold and the burgers were hot.